Well, hello, business owners. Hello, D9. Eric Lee Usher, Kev Upside Initiate, '05, Omicron Omega, Prophytes #1. Um, we all are business owners. Once upon a time, we had a dream of financial freedom and the courage to start a business. Next slide, please. So a lot of time, well, just the next one over.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, so that is the next one, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's actually a very important fact I learned during my cohort. So in 2024, approximately 82% of small business owners only have one employee. And that's us, typically the founder, right? And traditionally, we start a business and when we had to do everything ourselves to test out the business model, it works. We start making money. When we start making money, then now we have all the admin costs, customer support, marketing, operation, invoicing, bookkeeping, you name it. All of the things just pile up, and now you're doing about 160 hours a week by yourself. After a year, that's not really sustainable. You start to burn out, you start to not have a work-life balance, you start to wonder what's going on. Now, the secret to that is you need to implement systems and structure. And once you implement a system, standard operating procedures, all that for your business, for every small thing in your business, then now you're able to hire some support. And then once you hire support, then now you become a business owner where you're able to reduce anxiety, reduce workload, and have more time for your personal life. Next slide, please. So one of the biggest things that came about during my marketing agency was like, what does a VA do? Like, what does a virtual assistant do? And I noticed kind of after like placing some VAs with some clients that people confuse what a virtual assistant is versus what an executive assistant is. So now that's kind of being the big talk. So I like to really highlight the difference between a virtual assistant and an executive assistant. Now, a lot of small business owners, they've hired a virtual assistant and they have horrible results. And they're like, I'm never doing this again. And that's because you hired the wrong person, right? And let me give you the context on why. When you hire a virtual assistant, their job is essentially data entry, basic scheduling, customer support. Think of when you call T-Mobile, when you call Amex, when you call your bank, right? And someone picks up. That's a virtual assistant. They have a certain procedures, they have certain SOPs, they have certain Q&As that are already prefabricated for them to just follow. All they have to do is click a button. What we've done as business owners in an effort to save money, we hire a virtual assistant, now realizing that that virtual assistant lacks critical thinking skills, right? So the biggest distinction that I like to highlight is a virtual assistant is not going to critically think about your business or how to troubleshoot something. They're just going to sit there and wait and be responded to. They follow repeatable, actionable tasks. And if you don't have a tight SOP, like just think like the assembly line where you can just plug them in and press a button. And if they messed up, you take them out and plug somebody else in. That's a virtual assistant. Now, next slide, please. Now, an executive assistant is someone that actually has critical thinking skills. They become your right hand. It's ideal for entrepreneurs and small businesses because we actually need someone to help us think about our business, help us grow our business, think about all the different nuances of our businesses. They help with administrative, invoicing, scheduling, marketing, customer support, inventory tracking, you name it. With an executive assistant, they have past experience as a virtual assistant. They've worked with other businesses in their local environment, and they essentially help you grow your business based off of the information you give them. Now, it's definitely ideal to have a standard operating procedure for them as well. However, when you give them the SOP and they actually implement it, they're going to tell you, hey, this didn't work. This broke. We need to optimize this. We need to work on this. They are thinking critically about your business so that you can actually grow. Next slide, please. So now, biggest mistakes people make when hiring a virtual assistant, right? Number one, there's no established system. There's no standard operating procedure. There's no working with document. So a working with document is essentially a document that says, this is what it's like working with me as a business owner. These are my kinks. This is what I like. These are the times I like to work. These are my do nots. These are my non-negotiables. A lot of times business owners like to save money in order to do that, which is okay, but there's certain things that you have to consider in order to do it successfully. And I'm going to try to tackle that in the next slide. So before this, so one thing that people say, well, Eric, how can I afford a virtual assistant? How do I know can even afford one, right? So I highly recommend, if you haven't read this book, Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. That's actually my personal coach. And every week he just drops gems. And this is kind of one of the best things that he gave us. So your buyback rate. So your buyback rate is based off of how much income you make on an annual basis. And this is just a general formula that he uses, essentially based off a 2,000 hour in an annual work cycle. So just a quick math, if you make $100,000 a year, and your buyback rate out of 2,000 is now $50 an hour, right? So essentially, that's how much your company is paying you to do all the different tasks in your business. So then if you analyze that, so now you're worth $50, your buyback rate is now $12.50. So if you're making $50 an hour, your buyback rate for an assistant for your first hire is actually $12.50. Now, as your buyback rate increases, as your hourly rate increases, your buyback rate increases, which means you need to replace yourself. You need to buy back your time. So the quick way to look at this is, if you're doing administrative, you're doing follow-ups, you're doing customer follow-ups, you're doing refund requests, you're doing invoice follow-ups, and let's say it takes you 2 hours a day to just do the administrative task, you're essentially paying yourself $100 a day from your business to do a $12.50 an hour task. So in order to buy back your time, you would find someone that fits that $12.50 an hour, give them that task, and then now you have more time to focus on income generating activities that actually grows your business and scale. Next slide, please. So now people say, okay, well, Eric, how do I do this? What is the best way to hire remote? So there are 3 ways you can hire a virtual assistant / executive assistant based off of where your business lies. So you have the DIY and you have the job board, right? So we all know Fiverr, we Upwork, Indeed, ZipRecruiter. These are marketplaces where you can put your job description out there. You say, this is exactly what I'm looking for. These are the software tools I'm using. This is the task that I need you to accomplish within the first 90 days. And then you put up the fillers out there and you're going to get hundreds of applications. Now you have to go through the learning curves, and there's some cultural gaps that you kind of have to just adjust. The thing with this is it's costly, and there are some trial and error. You're not going to get it right the first time. You're not going to hire the right fit, especially when you're hiring overseas. There are going to be some different nuances from a cultural perspective that you're just going to have to learn. And it's just a trial and error. So this is the do it yourself. It's a lot more cost efficient, but you have to also sacrifice your time. But once you master it, then you'll get good at that if you have the time to do that. Then you have the third option, which is our placement agencies like OnlinePH, OnlinePH.com or something like that. Essentially, you can hire VAs from the Philippines. And there are other Facebook groups and stuff like that where you give them your job description, you pay a HR fee, and then you pay a placement fee. So once they find someone based off your job description, they give you that person, you pay the fee, and then now they're hands off. You handle payroll, you handle the scheduling, you handle the training, you handle everything. And you're hoping that they found somebody that was qualified for your role. That's a little trial and error as well, but the more you do that, the better you become. It's a cheaper cost, but you're paying a big upfront cost because you're paying the agency, the placement fee, the sourcing, the recruitment, and all that fun stuff. So then now the third model is the full service agencies. These are agencies like Just Ask Ava, like Hire Hero, like Atlas. There's so many of them out there where they pretty much handle the recruitment, they handle the training, they ideally find somebody that fits your company, that understands your softwares, they handle the payroll. So it's essentially they become the employment on record for your business. And then they also handle the firing if the person doesn't work, and they'll find you a replacement. They also do some ongoing support. But essentially, as someone that you hire to just say, hey, this is what I need, this is what I'm looking for, find them, I'll interview them, and if I don't like them, find me somebody else. They are full service agencies, but these are the 3 ways you can actually go about. Now, both have a different tier, of course, because of the service being provided and because they've already gone through the learning curve so that you don't have to. Next slide. So, what I want you to know, as a business owner, the dream is real. We all know this. We've been in business for a while. Consistency is key. And once we have that consistency, then our dreams become real. So what I wanted to do was, if everybody can scan this QR code, there's no opt-in. It's just literally take you to the ebook. And this ebook is pretty much how to reclaim 10 hours a week with a full-time virtual assistant. And you can leverage this ebook for each one of those tiers. Highly recommended that you actually understand what you're hiring for, because the worst thing you want to do is hire somebody and you guys are looking at each other like, what do we do next? And understand the difference between hiring a virtual assistant and an executive assistant. That's probably one of the biggest differentiators for small businesses. I just want to say this. I do not recommend small business owners hiring virtual assistants because it's going to be an uphill battle and it's just going to be annoying. So what I would recommend as a business owner is make enough income, do all the work yourself. And while you're doing the work, go ahead and record the what you're doing. Go to Zoom, Loom, whatever, and record the video of you walking through the steps. Save that in a Google Drive document. So now you have all this video assets of you doing the task, so that when you hire your executive assistant, you can give them the video and then they can formalize the SOP for you, that all you do is rinse and repeat and check. So that now you have a full owner's manual available for you. I can now open this up to Q&A. A lot of people typically have questions around VAs and EAs. I'm a very transparent individual. I support all things D9, so I will give you guys the Prophytes answer, the basement answer that you all need to hear. And that's it. That's the end of my presentation. I will say, Eric, because I know you all are probably thinking about this. Last time I came on board last year, I was talking about marketing. Eric, if you can go to, this is like a sneak peek, prophytes.com. So I'm the Mr. Prophytes, and we essentially initially launched the application, which kept having issues, kept having bugs. Tech is a very interesting thing when you launch an app product, especially as it's constantly updating with all the rules and stuff. So what we decided was, you know what, we need to switch to a desktop integration. And this is live, but it's not marketable. We have a lot of different updates we're currently doing behind the scenes, but essentially what you'll notice here is this is the new prophytes.com, where verified members can network and connect. We have over 6,000 members already registered. And you can kind of just scroll down to the main homepage, just kind of like a sneak preview. Actually, no, go back to the homepage because that's just a profile page. Yeah, I got 6,000 connections. This is a list of all the chapters, every chapter that you can have access to. You can find them, and then you can scroll down. My favorite part, everybody that's in this summit will be able to register as a verified vendor as well. I have my famous Prophyte, and then we also have the business page coming soon, which is really cool. Yeah, build by us for us. A lot of good things happening here. A lot of time and energy invested in this. We realize that there are a lot of D9 members wanting this, so we're just taking the time to really support our D9 economics. So I'm Eric Lee Usher, and if you have any questions, please drop them in the box or anything. I'm here to assist.
Hey, this is awesome, man. It's what I liked about it, and the concept is it's a collection of resources where you can kind of go out and network, because we, Greeks move different. There's a lot of similarities, there's a lot of differences, but there's some very common goals and initiatives. And so this kind of gives you a non-cluttered, highly focused space to go and collaborate. So shout out to you, man. You're always bringing the good stuff. And I was always talking about, man, if only there was a desktop version for those of us who kind of prefer that mode. And here you go, man. So, yeah. Man, that's nice.
I realized that which is interesting, the D9 market, because majority of us, well, all of us went to university and graduated, I would probably say 60% probably have corporate jobs. So because of that, you're on your desktop more so than your phone. So that desktop integration we noticed that more people were requesting desktop than mobile. So that's why we pivoted to the desktop to make it easy. But eventually we're going to close this where it's not even available to the public. Only members will have access to everything we just showed you. But right now it's just public because we're building SEO.
Well, and AJ says good stuff. And so you got him a little, piqued his interest. So that's cool. I'm assuming, I'm not sure, but I think, do you have a timeline on when that might?
Oh, no, this is live now. So anybody
Okay.
that's a member now can start and get verified now. It's just that we're gonna close it. It's
Okay.
gonna really become a private network specifically for verified members.
Sweet.
Now it's just open where you can see it, but if you're not verified, you can't interact with it, so it doesn't really matter. But no, everything is live. That's good to go. It's optimized. One thing I will say, one thing I will say that's different that most people is the definition of prophytes. So the definition of prophytes is is a member of a fraternity or sorority with knowledge, power, and influence. And as D9 members, we all know that we were all neophytes, and then when we have a prophyte, we kind of look up to them. But we all understand, and well, in recent times, thanks to social media, we're kind of questioning: are these neophytes being taught and trained by prophytes? Like, some of the things we're seeing is just not becoming of what our founders represent. So we've redefined prophytes as a fraternity sorority member with knowledge, power, and influence. And the way it works is, once you get the knowledge, then you have the power, then you have the influence. So you can't just call yourself a prophyte if you don't have the knowledge that you can actually pass down to neophytes to help us grow, to help them support. And we just recently we did a 3-book series that we're going to give away to members. And the first book series coming out is called Knowledge, and it's going to be just jam packed of like information that you just should have learned in college: financial literacy, voting, business, taxes, like, you name it. But we really want everybody to understand that being a prophyte is someone that has acquired knowledge, focused on education, and really focused on saying, you know what, as a prophyte, I have to teach these neophytes how to do it the right way, because that's how we learn. And it's needed. It's needed more than ever right now, especially in the Divine Nine, especially what's happening in the world. We need to come together, and we need to actually be prophytes and mentor these neophytes so they can also have the success that we have.
Hey, I love it, man. Hey, so I was just going to throw this out here because we connected a long time ago. How long has your Prophytes brand been around?
2012.
Okay.
Yeah, we launched. We've been around for a while, so it's been an ongoing process. One thing about business is the biggest thing is consistency, and don't give up. You really just can't give up, especially if you have the vision and you see it clearly as day, and you just got to work through the kinks of the technology. You just got to keep swinging. And this version right here, I'm really proud of, because now we've got a good team behind us. And it's the roadmap that we have during the launch is going to be insane, especially with AI now. Oh my gosh, forget about it. So yeah, I'm excited to see what we can do for the Divine Nine community.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eric Lee Usher. And you always bring even more. You're just one of those talking points that just keeps on giving. But thank you so much. And also, if you have any other questions of him, please place them in the chat. And he has the free ebook as well. So I hope you use the code, the QR code. Please put that in the also make sure that's in the chat box as well, Eric.